Friends, I know I cannot be the only one on the hunt for some super easy recipes right now. In today's video, I'm bringing you 5 of my favorite dump and go dinner ideas. Each one of these is packed with flavor. Most of them are in the slow cooker. A couple other ones are just as easy, and you won't believe how easy they really are. Let me share with you these dump and go recipes. So for this recipe, you're gonna need some cubed potatoes, or you can use the frozen cubed hash browns. I like to use this kind you can find over in just the refrigerated section. These are not frozen because they are already seasoned. They already have onions and peppers in here. So since we're only using 3 ingredients, that's just gonna add to the flavor. So you wanna use about 28 ounces, whether you're using the frozen kind or this kind. This is not quite 28 ounces, it's about 20. So I have 2 bags, and I'm just gonna use about 1.5 bags. Next to our potato soup, we're gonna add 1 packet of country gravy mix. Y'all might remember I used country gravy mix a few months ago in a soup recipe for the first time. It totally blew my mind, but it was delicious. So I'm excited to try this again. Sprinkle that all on top of our potatoes. And then for our 3rd ingredient, we're gonna need about 4 cups of chicken broth. You can use just a carton of chicken broth, or y'all know I like to use the chicken base. You just mix it with water, and that is it. So I have my stove turned on to medium. I'm gonna get this up simmering, and I'm gonna let it simmer for just about 30 minutes, but this won't take long at all. 3 ingredients, and then we're gonna be able to top it with whatever toppings we have on hand. It's gonna be delicious. My favorite thing about this soup was that it comes together so quickly. As I was bringing up the soup to a simmer, I just came over and stirred it occasionally, but you can see it thickened right up in just a matter of minutes. So as long as those potatoes get soft, it really takes no time. All right, y'all can see how creamy this potato soup is. This is quite amazing, if I do say so myself. Just those 3 ingredients when you need something quick and cheap. Relatively cheap. That is so awesome. This has just been simmering for about 20 minutes. Now, of course, this is optional. This is gonna make it 4 ingredients. You don't need this. I just tasted it. It's great as is, but I have some milk, and I'm just gonna thin it out with just a splash of milk. And of course, this whole soup is really just a good base. You can add whatever flavors, any other toppings, add-ins that you want. But I think it looks so good. If you want to sprinkle some cheese in the whole thing, you could of course do that. I think we'll just top ours with cheese or whatever anybody wants. This soup surprisingly had so much flavor, but I will tell you, if you don't love spicy stuff, maybe try to find the potatoes that are just plain, the ones that are not seasoned. And then for the country gravy mix, I know sometimes some brands can have a little bit of spice to them. We like the spice, but I just wanted to put that out there. Just be mindful if you don't love it so much. But I will definitely be making this one again. We're just gonna start by browning up 1 pound of ground beef. While our ground beef is browning up, I'm also cooking up 1 bag of the refrigerated tortellini. You can usually find this around your deli area in your grocery store, and you just wanna get the cheese version. And the directions in this recipe I'm following say to cook it 1 less minute than the directions say on the back of the bag. I guess because we are gonna bake it, so it's gonna continue to cook. Our ground beef is browned up, so now I'm just gonna add 1 jar of marinara sauce. Of course, we love Rao's, it's the best. We're just gonna add that right in with the ground beef. Get just a little bit of water to get all that out of my jar. Go ahead and turn that burner off, and then we're just gonna stir this all together. And that pasta, y'all, is only gonna cook about 3 minutes. We don't want it to get too mushy, and really you're supposed to use a large skillet and add the pasta in along with this. But I'm just gonna combine it all in a large bowl because my large skillet is being used by something else. All right, our tortellini is done. I'm just gonna dump that in. I'm just gonna toss everything a little bit. Already looks so good. And I just had a thought as well, this could totally be a meatless option. Of course, it's not vegan. We're gonna add some cheese, and the tortellini has cheese, but if you wanted a meatless option, I think this would make a great one. All right, so let's go make our second little layer. All right, so I just have a separate bowl here, and I have 1 block of softened cream cheese in there. You can let it come to room temperature. I just pop mine in the microwave for a few seconds. To that, I'm just gonna add about 1/2 cup of ricotta cheese. You could also use cottage cheese if you have that on hand. We're also gonna add a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of onion powder, and we're just gonna mix all that together. So next, I just have my 9x13. You need to spray your dish. I know how to spray, so when all else fails, butter. It's only a little bit. It looks like a lot, but I'm gonna spread it all out on this dish. So first, going in is about 1/2 of our tortellini and meat sauce. Just gonna get that all spread out. My audience is over here eyeballing it. Next, we're gonna bring over that ricotta and cream cheese mixture, and we're gonna add the whole mixture for our middle layer. And just kind of spread it out the best we can. Then next, we're just coming back on top with the other 1/2 of our tortellini. This definitely reminds me of a different take on lasagna. Same flavors, but a little bit different. Super easy to throw together too. Now it's time for that mozzarella we shredded up. We're just gonna add about 1 cup on top, or however much you want. Measure with your heart, honey. Get it all the way to the sides. Next, on top of that, we're also gonna add about 1/2 cup of shredded Parmesan. And we are ready for the oven. I'm gonna get this covered with some foil, and it's going into the oven at 350 for only about 30 minutes. All right, y'all, here it is out of the oven. It looks and smells delicious. We're just gonna top it with a little bit of parsley to make it pretty. All right, let's get this plated up. All right, y'all, we're just serving ours up with a little side salad and some little non-bread bites that we toasted up like garlic bread. Looks so good. All right, let's give it a try. That is delicious. Really creamy, perfect flavors in there. That tortellini is just cooked perfectly. It's not too soft. Nice and cheesy. Came together super quick. Great for a weeknight. Perfect. Y'all give it a try.
Next up, we have slow cooker orange chicken. Y'all, this tastes just as good, if not better, than takeout, and you won't believe how easy this is to make at home.
I'm starting with 1.5 pounds of cubed chicken breast, and to that I'm adding 1/3 cup of cornstarch, and I'm just going to kind of toss that all around to make sure all the little pieces are coated, and then I'm just going to throw that into my crock pot. In a separate bowl, I'm now mixing 1 cup of orange marmalade, 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Y'all do not skip this step. It makes it. It is so good. I'm adding in some minced garlic. Also, I'm adding in a teaspoon of ground ginger. I'm just going to mix that all together. Now you'll see me add some apple cider vinegar. The recipe called for rice wine vinegar, but I didn't have any and didn't feel like I would use it enough, so I'm just using that. Anyway, giving that a nice stir, and then adding some black pepper and salt to my chicken, and I'm going to pour the sauce right on top. And I believe I cooked this for about 4 hours on high. And y'all, this came out so delicious. It had to be my favorite. So easy. Couldn't believe I hadn't made it before.
This meal is something that your whole family will like. Pair it with some white rice and a veggie, and you have a complete delicious dinner.
First, we're just gonna give the inside of our crock pot a good spray with some cooking spray. So this recipe does require a tiny bit of prep work, but you could totally do this the night before if you wanted to, and just have this part done, put it in a bowl, and then throw it in the crock pot later. So we're gonna melt our butter in a little saucepan here. I'm just doing half of what the recipe calls for. I think that'll be enough. And we're just gonna saute our celery and our onions just to kind of soften those up a little bit. So while our veggies are sauteing up, I went ahead and placed 3 chicken breasts in my slow cooker here. And so next we're gonna add all of our seasonings that the recipe calls for. The recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. I think that is actually quite a lot. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Just put a little of each. I think a teaspoon would be a lot, like I said, especially considering all the other stuff we're adding in. Also it calls for lemon pepper. Just gonna do a little sprinkle of that. Next, we're gonna add some garlic powder. So next to a bowl, we're gonna actually add both of our soups, so the cream of chicken and the cream of celery, and then we're gonna mix those with the chicken gravy mix. Okay, now we're gonna take 3/4 of this soup mixture and just pour it over top of the chicken breast. So basically, you just wanna leave a little bit in your bowl. Spread that around evenly as possible. Chicken broth, I didn't even have it sitting out in my ingredients. You're supposed to add a cup in with the 2 soups, and the chicken gravy, I totally forgot. So I'm just gonna kind of pour a little bit in here just to kind of keep everything moist. Next, right on top of that, we're just gonna add 1 packet of stovetop cornbread stuffing mix. All right, so next we're gonna add the cooked vegetables right on top of this. And y'all, go and read this recipe if you feel like you might make it. I totally did not assemble this at all the recipe said. You're supposed to mix the dressing mix, stuffing mix, with these vegetables and the rest of that remaining soup mix. Oh well, I think it'll still taste good. All right, let me go ahead and add the rest of my soup mixture on top of here. And that's it. I have a really good feeling that our house is gonna smell really, really good in a few hours. All right, so the recipe says you can either do 6 hours on low or on high for 3 hours. I'm gonna start on high for about 3 hours because it's a little bit in the afternoon, a little later in the afternoon. And then if I need to come and turn it on low, if it starts getting a little bit brown, I'll do that. All right, just wanted to update y'all. I just checked it and it was getting a little bit done around the edges, but I just kind of took my fork and ran it around the edge. But it is smelling really, really good all through the house. It's been on high for about an entire 3 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on low. I'm gonna let it keep cooking. It's already 6:30, but we'll just eat a little bit later tonight. All right, y'all, it's time to eat. We have the chicken and stuffing casserole. I made some mashed potatoes with leftover potatoes from those potato skins the other day. So I did that on the side and then just sauteed up some fresh green beans. And that is our dinner. So to my slow cooker, I'm just adding about 1 pound of chicken breast. I just have some thinly sliced, so it's about 2 chicken breasts. Next, we're adding 2 cups of chicken broth. Next, we're gonna add a 10-ounce can of red enchilada sauce. Next, I'm just gonna add 2 cans of black beans, drained and rinsed. Next, we're adding 1 can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes, and this one is with the juice. Next, we're adding 1 can of drained whole kernel corn. Next, we're gonna add about 4 ounces of these diced green chilies. 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and about 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. All right, I'm just gonna gently stir the top. My chicken is down there at the bottom, and I'm gonna cook mine on high about 3 or 4 hours until that chicken is tender, because we are gonna end up shredding that with forks. So about 3 or 4 hours on high, or of course you could do it 6 to 8 hours on low. Once that chicken was nice and tender, I just took 2 forks and shredded it all up. You could of course just pull each chicken breast out and shred it up that way, but I find it just as easy to shred it up right in the slow cooker. This dinner was my oldest daughter's favorite of the two. Her all-time favorite soup I make is taco soup, so no wonder she loved it. Very similar in ingredients. This one was also very, very good. We topped ours with a little bit of shredded sharp cheddar cheese and a little bit of tortilla strips.
Friends, if you've made it this far in the video, drop a taco emoji down below. It is Taco Tuesday after all, but seriously, don't forget to say hello in the comments. Let me know what you're having for dinner tonight too. Let's all share some more good ideas with one another. But here's another video if you need seconds. I will see you over there, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye y'all.